And welcome to the show. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a wonderful night. I haven't done a show in a little bit. I got a little burnt out there for a split second, but I'm back. So let's talk about the Iran war and approval ratings. So generally, this war is basically turned into a boomer war because if you go on the mainstream media, they say the numbers every night. Oh, we dropped this many bombs. We blew up this many ships. We blew up this many people, this many buildings, we did this many sorties, and so on and so forth. And it just glazes over. And we finally won, and we're the best. And that Iran is just brought to its knees, and blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares anymore. We're over it. We know who started it. We know why it started. And now we want to move on with our lives because our coffee is getting cold, because our gas prices are going up. And we're not about this greater globalist whole post Cold War greater greater Middle East project. We're over it. We spent all that time in Afghanistan, we spent all that time in Iraq, and now we have to put up with this crap? We're over it. We need to go back to making trade deals and making money instead of blowing up money. Because that's what we're doing. We're blowing up money. That's all we're doing. We're not going to nation build Iran. We're not going to flip Iran. It's a country of 90 plus million pissed off people. You killed their leader. You killed their kids. You lied to them twice. You bombed them during peace deals. Why would they make a deal with you? And yeah, Trump can go up there and yada, yada, yada. We won, blah, 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 blah. Nobody believes him. The boomers probably, are soaking that up on Fox News, eating their popcorn on CNN, and so on and so forth. And everybody says, oh, the Democrats would do better. No, the Democrats want this war too. The Democrats have wanted this war just as much as the Republicans. They've always wanted this war. Both sides want this war because these our government is not for the people, by the people. It's for the PACs, it's for the lobbyists, it's not for the people. So they want this war for the military industrial complex. They want this war for the greater, you would say Israel, but I say the greater Middle East British project. Because Great Britain created Israel to basically destabilize and keep their Middle East partners in check. Because everybody knows if Saudi Arabia pops off, if any of those countries pop off, we have military bases right there in Israel, ready to go, ready to ready to control that central part of the world. Because we got them all drunk on the oil money, but you have to have a central hub to keep them in check, and that is what Israel is. It's a central hub that keeps the Middle East in check. But since the Epstein files came out, they got greater exposure because if you look at the Epstein files, Rothschild's mentioned a lot of times. And so far, Netanyahu has been to the White House 7 plus times. And remember, 2 weeks after the Epstein files came out, this war started. We made him not drop the first bombs, but we followed them in. So we're guilty as hell too. We're guilty of everything and excuse me, everything and anything that happens with this war moving forward. And they are running for the peace deal. Trump is running for the peace deal because he knows that his approval rating is sitting in like the 30s because of this. And let's bring this in. Older Americans, particularly 45 and older, generally show higher support because they are used to the U.S. kicking ass. That is why there's greater support with the 40 plus year olds because we are used to a constant state of war. This is sort of like the first Iraqi war warrior class, Afghanistan class that's used to constant war. And then you have the boomers from Vietnam that are also used to, get the lawn chairs out, get the popcorn, we're dropping the bombs, we're doing the whole shock and awe. But it's not working out this time. And most people get their news from social media and from YouTube. They don't get it from Fox News. They don't get it from CBS. And that's why you have these empty suits on Fox News and on all these news channels just preaching to the boomers, saying everything's all right. We're doing good. We're blowing up. We're blowing up their air force that they haven't used in 40 years. We're blowing up their navy that they've never used, but it's blown up. But haven't blown up their missiles yet. And they've only attacked the western part of the country, not the east. Not the east. And they say day in, day out, everything is going to be fine because they have to keep the markets solid. They have to keep the rates low. That's the entire reason why we bomb on a Friday and Trump mentions peace deals on a Sunday night, because he has to keep the stock market pumping. He has to keep the oil prices down, or else it's going to crash the entire economy, and neither party wants that. Neither party wants the economy to crash. But everybody wants to blame Trump for this because he is a lame duck president. Nobody wants to take responsibility for this. That's why everybody's pointing the finger and saying, oh, well, I knew Trump was going to fail, Trump. It's like, yeah, but you guys all told him to do it. All your lobbies have been lobbying presidents to basically do this for the past like 20 plus 30 years. And now the big bad guy, he finally did it. Someone had the balls that actually go in there and take care of business. Now he's the bad guy, of course, because that's how that works. But it doesn't help that we have a bloodthirsty regime that was created by the Rothschild family, basically, in the Middle East, that's used to doing whatever they want, when they want, to drop bombs on whoever they want, whenever they want, without any consequences, against a country with 90 million people with basically, I wouldn't say an unlimited amount of missiles, but if they have the backing of China and Russia, they basically do. And who's going to stop? Who's going to stop Russia if it gets so bad from taking over, from basically doing what they did in Syria, to go in there and claim air superiority over that country and say, all right, Iran, we got you. We are the blanket. If we see any U.S. or Israeli sorties break the borders, we're going after him. And that would be very, very, very dangerous. That would be just like the Cuban Missile Crisis, basically, because that would be superpower going against superpower with two mild superpowers that are the ones that actually are fighting this off. Hold on. Excuse me. Because U.S. and Russia, two world superpowers, Iran and Israel, two minor superpowers. I would call Israel a superpower. It's more of a lapdog to the superpower, because without support, without us giving them hundreds of billions of dollars, they wouldn't be there, basically. So, and Iran can sustain itself. Israel can't. That's the big difference. That's the big difference. Because we need Israel there to keep the Middle East in check. And that's why we fund them. So they are looking for an off-ramp as fast as possible. Israel, on the other On the other hand, they're still invading Lebanon, and they're still fighting on. They're still firing missiles at Iran, and Iran's like, okay, you're going to keep on firing missiles. We're going to keep on firing missiles, which that forces us to keep on firing missiles, and that basically we can sign a peace deal all day long. We can be like, all right, Iran, we got a peace deal. We're good. We're we're sorry. Finger cuffs. We're like this. Sanctions dropped. Hormuz open. But you still have this like angry little Rothschild Bank of London puppet over here that thinks but basically thinks that's entitled to like every little thing on the planet, just festering there, pissed off because they didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get the greater war that they wanted. They didn't get the boots on the ground, which we could see because there are troops moving into the area. But then on the flip side, you have Iraq back in the spotlight, basically declaring war on U.S. troops. Iraq, let's get this. Iraq war, latest. Let's get this in here. Sunni Shia, Iraqi war. Iraq war. Let's see. So we have the largest explosives, high rise near consulate. 15 seconds ago. It's killing assist fighters. So yeah, we have Iraqi official declares its entry into the war alongside Iran against the United States and Israel. That's huge. This is huge. So Iraq has just thrown their hat in, and we just lost a major staging area in the Middle East because of that. Because Iraq is pissed off. They aren't as advanced as Iran, obviously, but they still have a huge army. Solder. I'm butchering this. Iraq. Militia size. So, according to 2025, Iraqi forces have approximately almost 200,000 active duty personnel. The force includes the Army, Navy, Air Force. So, that's crazy. That's crazy. If they declare a jihad against the U.S. that's already backed up against the wall, and that was already depending on those military bases in Iraq, we're in trouble. And when we spent so much money on that green zone, so much money, the cost of the Iraq green zone. So it is developed a zone influence estimated $5 billion. That is crazy. So we're basically throwing that in the garbage because of this bombing campaign and this war, and that's just crazy. That could have built so many roads. That could have funded so many families. But yet, here we are. And this boomer war is spiraling. There are countries that are starting to basically run out of gas. Australia is having a huge problem with fuel. 84% of Republicans support military action in Iran compared to much lower support among Democrats and independents. Young conservatives supports the outer younger demographic. I supported this war to be quick and easy, no boots on the ground. Get in, get out, get it done. That's basically how like every American felt when this first started. But as we're starting to see things deteriorate and the whole tit for tat, oil shortages around the world and so on, the sediment for this war is just going to eat itself alive. And the fact that Trump is saying, oh, we're winning and all this crap, and then every night the bombs just rain down. It's a little bit of a contradiction there. But that's where we're at. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video. If you like what you hear, like and subscribe. A little bit of a ramble tonight, but I'm not going to go through the war map and sit here for 8 hours just, blabbering on. It's pointless. The bombs are going to fall. Unfortunately, people are going to die, and that's where we're at until it's over. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night.